Ultimate Hoops Nation. I'm Aaron Wimsett, the Sun Young Graves, the good, the bad, and the ugly. Week 7. We're almost into playoff time. We got next week, Wednesday and Thursday, we have off for Turkey Day and shopping. And
Wednesday's off too?
Wednesday's off too. Yep. Minnesota doesn't do a Black Wednesday, do they? Chicago does Black Wednesday. It's a big party. But we'll see. 2 more weeks.
Yeah, that week off is going to hurt some people. Me included.
10 pounds a game.
Yeah, it's going to be rough. It's going to be rough.
Let's get into it. The good. When you see Rebels, Red Devils, you know it's going to be a low-scoring good game. Last night's game in Bloomington South was just that. Game-winning shot by our Sam. Red Devils were actually up 46-45, I believe. There's like 5 seconds maybe left on the clock, and Rebels were inbounding from the sideline and passing to our Sam, and he makes a layup. Did you see it?
I think I caught up to the timeout, and then I was stretching for my game. So
it was through like 3 people. I got it, so you guys will see it. But it's a good shot. The Rebels, I think, they're still 7-6-1, maybe.
They lost to Big Smash, and that's their only loss.
Yeah. So they continue their good season. Speaking of Big Smash beats the Crusaders. Kind of the matchup of the breakup. Anyways, Big Smash beats the Crusaders. Big Smash, who I believe lost their first 4 games with Lynch, have went 3-1 since, and the Crusaders have went 2-2. Is Big Smash better without Antoine Lynch?
The teamwork is a lot more cohesive. Ball moves quicker. It's more defense. And basically everybody stays in the game. I mean, of course, everybody has their lapses. Last night it was a little frustrating because that was a personal game. Glenn wanted to go at Twan. Mike wanted to go at Twan. Greg wanted to go at it. It was bad. It was a bad night. And it's games like that where Twan doesn't play his game. Where if he'd have played normal, how he normally plays, it would have been a lot closer. But he wanted to make sure he played perfect and try to do everything that everybody criticizes him for to make sure they win, and it took them out the game.
Are the Crusaders better with Antoine on the team?
They're better with him because they have the personnel around him that wants to get him the ball, get him his touches, and nobody's upset about it. I mean, it's him and Abdi as their main scorers, and everybody else just fills in. And that's what they're happy to do. But when you try to put too much talent and nobody ever wants to back down, you can't have a big team. It's like Boston. They all went there, KG, Ray Allen, and they was like, all right, we got to figure out who's the man here, and you take turns. That's how it is. When you got forces like that, it could be anybody's game on anybody's night, and they didn't see it that way.
Yeah, I still think, the Crusaders is probably the most talented Crusaders team in a long time. But I still think the problem with them is just they don't have the cohesiveness of some of the other teams. It's not, it's too much one-on-one ball. They don't have, any plays, you don't see any pick and rolls with them that much. So we'll see. Again, that's the most talented Crusaders team in a while. So we'll see how where they can go.
It'll be interesting.
So talk about the Muskies later, but the Muskies played the Gorillas last night in Bloomington South, and they got beat pretty good. And Fob, we're just speaking about this because this is Junius last week, so this is his last 2 games. Fob, when I came in, we're down by 7, and I'm like, oh crap! Like, how would that be to lose your last 2 games? But FOB escaped tonight with a win. I did get a chance to interview Junius. Here's an interview right now. All right, I couldn't even tell the difference because we were both in yellow.
Yeah, hey, we came.
I'm here with Junius. Your last game tonight. How you feeling?
I'm relieved. I'm very relieved. That after what happened last night, I was worried that we weren't going to get it, and I missed a couple big shots, missed the big free throw at the end. But as always, when you surround yourself with great players and great teammates, they pick you up and they help you out, and this is what it's all about.
I was going to say it would have been a cruddy way to go out, losing your last 2 games. But you got the win against Lights Out, who has Kelvin Bell on the team, who at least I know him as kind of the infamous guy who is the guy that's yelling "Let's go" in your face. How cool was it to go out against his team?
Oh, it was great. Calvin, I love him. He and I think he's a very worthy adversary and opponent. I love his old school, don't stop, aggressive style, and the trash talk. And he summed it up perfectly. We say all these things on the court, but afterwards, it's all love. We don't take it personally. And I think too often people do take things too personally. It's a totally different thing out there. Everybody pays that $70, $80 for a different reason. And I think most of all, we just want to get out here, win some games, and have fun.
So you're moving to California. Can they expect to see you in Ultimate Hoops Leagues out there?
Right now, the one I think in Laguna Niguel is a bit far, especially with LA traffic. But if they get one closer to the city, South Bay is where I'll be living, then definitely. I would love to sort of do the Dream League thing. Maybe not play a bunch, maybe play even less than I do now. I am getting old, 36, but I would love to just be a part of it because, like I said, my favorite part is not necessarily the games, but it's the time just hanging out with everyone here. You included.
Well, congrats, man, on the win. We'll miss you, and take care.
Yeah, thanks.
So there's Junius. We'll miss him. Hopefully we'll see him around at some point. Maybe we'll have a business meeting in Minnesota or something. He can hop on a team for a night. But FOB, I think, moves to 4-3 now. What's life like for both of those teams going to be without Junius?
Downhill. Downward spiral. I mean, and the bad thing is, Junius is not the best player on that team by far. On either team. Maybe the 4th. Okay. On FOB, maybe the 4th, 5th option. On the Muskies, maybe like the 7th option. But it's like, it's that enthusiasm that get your team fired up. It's that coaching that you need on that team, on both teams, for the Muskies to push the defense, to press up, to keep them in the game. And that gets them that momentum spark that nobody else is on that team is going to do. Casey's quiet. Christensen's quiet. On FOB, you still got Christensen. Bundy is not going to speak up. I mean, now you lose your fire. I say maybe both teams get one win in the playoffs.
Yeah, I mean, he's one of a savvy UH veteran is worth having on your team. Even, Briggs would be another example. They know, like, Bloomington South, if you're going to press, we want the short court tonight instead of the big court, So, yeah, I mean, it'll be interesting to see how those teams function without him. But
it's definitely like he's probably like Jay Moore 2.0. Because when the Celtics started, that's how Moore was on the sideline. Just chew you out on the sideline. And everybody be mad at him sitting on the bench. And even back in those days, he played and yelled in your face. And you couldn't do anything but be mad. And then as it got time, it faded away. Now, you saw what happened to the Celtics when that faded away. Now, let's see what happened to FOB and the Muskies when that goes.
It was funny for me. I don't know if it was funny. I asked him a question in an interview, but it's funny for me that he got the win over Lights Out, and Lights Out has Kelvin Bella on the team. And Kelvin Bella, to me, is kind of the guy, you saw him, I think it was the playoffs last year or whatever, where they were just going the let's go in each other's faces. So it was funny for me for him to get a win over Kelvin when Kelvin's the guy who is always doing let's go when he's played him. It was just...
It's hilarious. Revenge is sweet.
I'll try to find it. We'll try to find it here. The Bulls, who had lost 4 in a row, they stopped their skid barely. They go into overtime against the Supersonics, and they hold the Supersonics to 0 points in overtime. I know you didn't see much of the game, but I think when overtime hit, the Supersonics they were up. And I think between the Bulls coming back, there were some questionable calls, I think, both ways. Or they thought it was questionable, But, they didn't score in overtime. Corey Kleinsasser, who, when he's involved, when he scores, I bet you when he scores over 20 points, they're probably undefeated. Tonight, they just didn't seem to get him involved much. I know Goody commented on it. He only took 4 threes, which is probably his season low. A team like that too. Do the Supersonics have that veteran presence to push them deep in the playoffs?
Well, their vet would be Hoyle, and not to knock him at all. He can't carry him. He's a great player, great point guard. But if you're gonna look for vet leadership, he's not the one that they can lean on. Jordan's gonna have to step up and be that guy. Like, you're gonna have to be there to calm Price down. Have to be there to keep Hoyle in the game, and be able to say, hey, we need to get our shooter and Corey involved to get him some more shots. Even if he's off, you still need your shooter ready in case he gets that one shot that's going to break a game.
Yeah, and they were at the end of the game, Supersonics were in 1-1, and I was sitting right there, and Corey was trying to get in the game, and nobody was coming out, and they missed a few clutch free throws down the stretch.
Trust me, I know the feeling of end-of-game situations.
So kind of the rematch. I joked that we should have put this one week 8 earlier, but Free Ballers Blazers, kind of a rematch of last season's number 1 seed battle. The Blazers get revenge. They beat them 65-52. Both teams are 5-2. The Supersonics are 5-2. I think those are the top 3 teams here in Fridley. Who is your top team coming out of Fridley?
Had Supersonics lost to the Free Ballers?
Supersonics lost to Fob, I believe.
Fob, and then tonight. Ooh. That Bulls loss weighs them down, even though the Blazers, it's going to be tough. We're going to have to look deep into that one. I know Izzy's going to discredit the Supersonics just off of their roster alone. But one more week, we'll see who comes to play at the end of the season.
On to the bad. Just touched on it, but the Muskies played the Gorillas. I expected it to be a good game. I don't know if it was because the game was later in the night or what, but the Muskies, I think the Muskies were actually up at halftime, like 29-23 or something, and then second half came and they just laid an egg. I think they scored like 19 points in the second half, and they were shooting pretty well in the first half. Second half, 19 points. It's almost as bad as the Magic Johnsons last week. So.
Yeah, 7 points in 13 minutes is hard to beat. But they're a defensive team. They get most of their buckets off of steals And I mean, even from watching early in the game, they forced a lot of turnovers from the Gorillas and couldn't capitalize. They were missing fast break layups. I saw Mortimer take it coast to coast a couple times, miss it where he could have made the extra just drop off pass on 2-on-1 fast breaks. It's just that chemistry from players missing weeks here and there that they don't have. They still forced the turnovers, they just couldn't finish.
Yeah, they shot 28% from the field, and I think they were out rebounded by 10 plus. So there's your difference right there.
Yeah. And was Rablin there?
Rablin was not there.
Yeah, that's also a factor. I remember seeing him. That's a different factor, and then also that put Christensen on Chris, which probably worn him down. So especially when you need him to make a three and he has no legs from guarding him all game. It's tough.
We'll just keep them in the battle of the ugly until they win. the blue chips, they played the Shockers, and this one, the way the blue chips have been playing, I thought, and the way the Shockers have been playing, Shockers have been playing well. You expected the Shockers to go out just crush them. The blue chips only lost by 3, and it was who had a shot at the end? I think it was Eric Bond who had a shot from the corner, and I think I have that too. So, but he had a shot from the corner to tie it up at the end and missed it. But it's funny because Bond came up into the office while we're entering stats after, and he goes, "If the blue chips go 0-8, we're making shirts."
But they got the Spurs.
I mean, it's the curse. I got the 6 voodoo dolls in my house with Western jerseys on, with pins and needles in all of them. Revenge. I wish we had them on our schedule. Well, I mean, given what I think they play the Spurs. Is that week 8? Or that
they play the Spurs week 8. Yep. They
So
have a doubleheader. They have a doubleheader next week because both the Spurs and the Spurs and Crusaders. There you go.
So, I mean, that's tough. Like, they definitely have to win the first one because I feel like they will be gassed for the second one, whether it's the Spurs or Crusaders. The Crusaders, you got Chase, Twan, and Abdi if they're fresh. And then Spurs, you would have to stop them from shooting threes. And if they're always on one half or the other. So if you don't blow them out of the water in that other half, it's tough.
And the Spurs can score, and they're younger. Yeah. So I think they play the Crusaders first. So they're going to probably get worn out playing the Crusaders, which could make the Spurs game interesting.
Yeah, because the Spurs may come out hot like they did against us and shoot 65% from 3 in the first half, and then they cool off. But by that time, that's the fourth 22-minute half. Can they hang on to force a rally or anything? They're in the playoffs either way. It's like it's tough. You see a Final Four team down to Timberwolves status right here. We traded all our stock and just like, all right, we're rebuilding this year. I don't know.
On to the ugly. Maybe this is in the ugly just because both of these guys are better than a lot of the guys that play here. But after Corey Kleinsasser joined the league, people are like, yeah, he's another Wiskus, or they were calling him, Mike Wiskus X. But anyways, the battle of the ages. The new Corey Kleinsasser outscores Wiskus 17-5, and I know from watching pretty much every time that they were in, they were guarding each other, and it was a battle. That
was probably the most evenly guarded battle ever. They probably looked at each other like, shit. I'm glad this is a good game right here. Good game. Need a break? I need a break too. Let's just walk this one down. It's a good battle. Corey's a little bit more active than Wiskus, but I know Wiskus has been hurt and just trying to get back in the gym. So we'll see next season if he's back.
Corey does after a few years worth of seasons on the knees and stuff. I think with Wiskus playing in a few leagues and the wear and tear. He had a few injuries, so
we'll see if Corey gets recruited. Wiskus started with respect the game.
Corey, he should get recruited. He's good.
Yeah, it'll be different.
Any final thoughts heading into Thanksgiving? Vikings game this weekend and week 8.
Oh, I mean, we got to try to kick Aaron while he's down. We got to. If we let him tear him up this time, we're not beating him the other time either. So definitely got to win that game.
What's your prediction?
I'll say 17-14.
Vikings.
Vikings.
I'll go 31-24.
It must be Packers.
Vikings.
We're not scoring.
We'll see.
We're not scoring 31 points.
Think so?
No.
We'll see.
AP would have to have 250 yards for us to score 31 points.
We'll see. If we're getting really long now, but if we don't score around 30 points, I might do that trade. Fantasy basketball.
That's a deal. Junius, let's go! Get out my gym. Peace. That's how you get him back.